Hello. Welcome again. Chestnuts roasting on my open fire. It's the last open office hours of 2023. Some would say, and I would agree, that year went fast. And then I think about all the stuff that's happened this year, and I go, wow, that was one hell of a year. I don't know how you feel, but I'm always excited about this time of year in general, just because it gives me the opportunity to kind of catch up. Marie Kondo, as I keep saying, my personal life, business life, and otherwise. Last year, we did some traveling. This year, I'm very happy to be at home in my comfort zone, getting things organized. I have two of my three sons home, just chilling, just doing a lot of good stuff. But I've also been interacting with a lot of you, and today is going to be a good example of it. I've got some great questions for today's office hour. Please check in and let me know, how do I sound and how is the video? Because yesterday during our live event, I discovered that I have to bounce between internet providers here in 1876. Today I'm using the Verizon Wireless, the $25 a month 5G wireless, because I believe everybody on Xfinity is at home watching Home Alone. So just let me know if you're watching. Donna's in, AV both good. Hello again. All right, so Donna and I were actually interacting. I also had some good questions from Anisha and a few other folks. Today, what I want to focus on, I think, is two areas. One is how to use Fluent CRM, both for yourself or as a hub for your clients. And the other thing is how to set up some of the incredible awesomeness that is the Fluent suite. And again, I'm being very coy here, but I have a very good relationship with Shah Jahan Jewel, who is WP Managed Ninjas, as well as Jack Arturo, many of you know. And because WP Managed Ninjas keeps coming out with awesome stuff, we've been in conversation about maybe doing something together, which is really an extension of what you've already got. So you guys who are already here don't have to worry about it. But like, essentially, we have all the tools that we need. Good morning, Aaron. I'm glad to see. Oh, that's amazing. Hi, Aaron. Good to see you. I've never met you before. And coming from Starlink, right? Exactly. That's actually a good connection, though. And then hi to Donna. Good morning. So what I was going to get at is today we're going to talk about a couple things that are really useful in terms of A, the Fluent CRM for yourself and others, and B, in the suite of stuff, I have a couple clients that are making use of what I feel is like incredibly powerful, and I'm going to be moving over myself. That is moving from using an external service like Calendly to using Fluent bookings, because one of the biggest things that you can offer for yourself or for clients is the ability for somebody to schedule a call. So first, I want to let everybody know, thanks for being here. I know for many people you're out of town and not interested, but for those who are here, this is a great time for us to catch up. So what I'm going to do is let's go to full screen mode here. I've got my standard launch kit set up, and I believe I should have everything good to go as far as, and let me just move this over. I should have everything good to go on the back end for. Let's talk about the concept of Fluent CRM for yourself on a single site versus, I'm going to go here, this mode for a second, versus Fluent CRM for you having 2, 3, 4, 5 sites of your own versus Fluent CRM for your clients, okay? One of the best things about Fluent CRM in general is there's two, I gotta get rid of the screen. There's two types of CRMs. In one column are the SaaS CRMs. Those are all external. You need to have a two-way communication with them, which we use WP Fusion to do, to say, hey, I got this person, Spence, and he's clicked this, whoops, drop that, seen this, done this, and so forth. So the user on your WordPress or the WordPress site is matched up to an external contact on any of these CRMs, and WP Fusion lets that information talk back and forth about custom fields, tags, things somebody is doing. As you can imagine, there's a disadvantage to having to talk on a walkie-talkie back and forth between sites. It's an API call up, a webhook back. There's delay, there's problems. But more importantly, you're paying a real large amount of money, really large, for something that now is incredibly awesome that you can own and control inside of your very own WordPress site, whether it's on a per site basis or whether it's on one site for covering all of your websites, as I'll talk about in a second. But in general, that second column is Fluent CRM. So 51 or 52 CRMs that you go out and spend a ton of money and get all complicated and blah, 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 blah. Or you can just use Fluent CRM, which I'll show you in a second, connects all of the pieces together in combination with what I'm doing with launch flows, with WooCommerce, with WP Fusion and so forth. So you have one box that rules them all. Concept solid. Yes. Okay. In the column of using Fluent CRM, 3 flavors. One site that you have Fluent CRM on for yourself or for your client. That is to say, it's just like the thing that does all of the automations, tracking the user's journey, again, with the help of WP Fusion and launch flows and all the products, but all of the components in WordPress track the user's journey. And yes, we still call it a contact, but Fluent CRM is working inside of the site one-to-one. So that's setup number 1. You really owe it to yourself to have this for every single site. You really are making a gargantuan mistake not having it, because if you are not tracking the user's journey, you have none of the idea. Like even in the old days when you had a store, we had a fishbowl, people would put their business card in when they visited the store. So you have some idea who came in, who was interested in what, who did it on what days, and so forth. You must do that in 2023. You cannot just pretend like you don't know who your customers are or who your visitors are or who your prospects are. So one-to-one is the first Fluent setup, just a site with Fluent. Choice 2, Fluent CRM for yourself, but one site is the hub. Think like a bicycle wheel. Okay. One site is the hub that has all of your business stuff going on. Fluent CRM for your marketing automation, WooCommerce for your transactions, membership and typically membership content handled by the tags for the money paid through WooCommerce, but delivering content that's protected, like enrollment wise, through things like LearnDash or Lifter or whatever you use. So the idea is that in this hub, everything that you are delivering, everything that you are selling, everything that you are using as sales pages to market is essentially done from the hub. But you still have some odd reason, and there are reasons, because you've got related brands, related products to use other sites. I will give you a real world example from myself and from my customers. I created the Launch Flows plugin, as I've said a million times. In the original days, that had its own WooCommerce, its own marketing automation, its own whatever. I have connected Launch Flows now to my hub on WP Launchify. I have connected Marketing Automation Lab. I've connected WP Marketing Hub. I can go down the list, right? I used to have, and still exists, but yourbestprofile.com. All of my businesses are now set up. Thank you, Marie Kondo. All that they do, and by the way, WP LaunchKit, they all connect for selling on WP Launchify. They can connect and track the user's journey on any of the remote sites, but all of the data can be inside the central CRM. Why is this useful and why is this better for you? Why is this great for anybody? It means that you've got all of the benefits that the SaaS CRMs have sold everybody in the past. Look, one active campaign account can be used for 5 businesses. Yes, it could, but now you can do it on Fluent CRM. And you aren't being charged every time you add a user, because Fluent CRM costs you $0 to add 10 users, 10 contacts, 1,000 contacts, 100 contacts, whatever. Good morning, Chris. The back update, thank you, by the way. The back, I'm doing like Dr. House MD. I'm 99% self-diagnosed sure that the L4 disc where I had the herniation is just slightly bulging and it's impinging on my nerves, because all of the symptoms point to that. So for right now, I'm taking conservative treatment, still dealing with the medicines to keep it, but I'm able to function. So I love that. And thank you guys, by the way. I love them when people ask me because it keeps me encouraged that I'm tracking my progress. No pain, just basically my right leg is detached from my body. Okay, so when you go, thank you, by the way, for that. When you go into a situation where you've got all of these great features connected to a hub, you have all of the power, none of the incremental costs, and here's the best part. Nobody can take away your ownership and control. The idea being is that if you have a SaaS CRM, we've famously seen ActiveCampaign doubled in more of their pricing. Infusionsoft, HubSpot, Salesforce, they've all done varying degrees of shenanigans where they just like tortured their customers, right? They disrespected their customers. And that's not right, because at the end of the day, like, ownership and control is everything. So let's talk about the third one. And while that's happening, I noticed that for some reason, I got logged out of my other demo site, but I'm going to come back to it. The third thing is, let's say you've got customers. So we talked about yourself, one site, one-to-one. We've talked about yourself with a hub, multiple sites. By the way, those sites don't have to run the full stack. They just need to have at least Fluent CRM. But running the stack is your way of ensuring good things happen for you. In other words, like sticking with the stack from LaunchKit means that you don't have 5 different versions of the site. The third is you have clients. Now, what I'm going to show you today and what we've been talking about is how you can set up for clients the same stack of LaunchKit, but you only have to use one feature, 2 features maybe. Here's why. Some of your clients, maybe a good majority of your clients, are basically going to just have a basic necessity. They need to collect leads or prospects who call them on the phone or email them. And then they need to convert them into buying a product, a service, or doing something in a consultative way online. For that, you can literally clone the setup that we're talking about here, charge the person $300, $400, $500 or more just to set up just that. No design, no mechanics other than just turning it on and putting in their details. And for that, they will definitely pay you between $97 and $197 a month all day long, every day of the week. And I know this for a fact. I can validate it because I've been doing this for so long. And I've got thousands of customers myself who are, yourself included, paying me for exactly the same thing. I mean, if you think about it. So one of the reasons I've built this LaunchKit with the client model is that I can essentially give you exactly my whole playbook, all my tools, everything, but you just have to go ahead and sell it for, let's say, $37 more than I'm charging. And that's $450 a year profit. But if you sell it for more than the minimum wholesale to retail markup, you win. Plus you get the setup fee. So that's a really awesome thing. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab the temporary login because I want to now demonstrate some of that. And by the way, these are office hours. So if you guys want to obviously jump in and ask questions, I have to, for some reason, get myself logged in here. I'm back logged in. Okay. So let's talk about the Fluent CRM part. But then once I've got that set up, I want to talk in the last part of today about doing the Fluent bookings. And I'm going to do this live because it's just so crazy good that I'm definitely going to do a full tutorial, put it in the documentation on how to do that and sell that. Because man, oh man, the 2 things that people will buy from you, just that's it, are a way to take free leads or leads that they've got, turn them into prospects or have them pay money. Second is some way to manage themselves or a team of workers for a free or paid booking, so that not only can people make phone calls, not only can people pay for stuff, but they can actually see the availability and just book it themselves. Those 2 things alone will just absolutely make your day as far as offering a ready-to-go service for whatever your niche of customers may be. Spencer, by the way, is saying, I'm looking for recommendations for a directory website plugin. I'm going to bring this into the conversation right now and just say this. You don't need and want a directory plugin. What you want and need is exactly what we have here, because instead of doing somebody's, no offense to whoever, instead of using somebody's custom baked plugin with all this stuff in it. We have everything you need inside the kit to do a directory. And in fact, one of the things I like to show people is if we just go over here, our own documentation is a great example, by the way, of a directory. This is made with one custom post type. I just created it with the CPT UI plugin. I use the Kadence automatic layout capability where I have unusually I never do this. I had it where I used a left column layout. I then used the custom search with Search WP that's built in so as to only give results for that post type. And I used Facet WP to create this kind of great faceted search. Now, in this case, because I'm doing this with information, it doesn't look pretty, but watch this. This is exactly the same thing. This is another client site using the exact same tools. Here we're doing with people. And we're using some of the cool sliders. So here's a director where I've got like this really neat little age slider, and it's like Amazon.com for a directory of people. And I need a coach, and they have to be in baseball, right? And then now the result is whatever I want to do. Now the single page layout, same way. We have total control over it. So just one-to-one, metaphorically, look, I'm looking for media. And if I go into, I'm not sure what's on this page, but if I go onto a particular page, I can have the layout be whatever I want using just the patterns. So Spencer, your answer is actually, instead of adding another Frankenstein plugin to what we've already got, I will be giving a detailed tutorial that will be inside of here of how to just step-by-step. In fact, I may have already done it. How to step-by-step do it. Oh, I've already got it. Now, I didn't do the step-by-step other than in the video, but I'll refer you to this, and I'll post it into here. And then Spencer's doing a follow-up, which I love. Then a membership feature, people to register and paid listings. Right. So I'm going to come back and apply this payment thing to both what we're talking about for the Fluent CRM in general, like free people versus paid members. Second, it's for some product or service, like, for example, if we're offering registration for an event or for a one-to-one call. But number three, for payment for how do you get something like, you know, a directory listing. And this is something that I do over and over and over and over again because it's one of the most popular features that people want to pay for. And I mentioned yesterday, you may not have been there for the live training, Spencer, but we, in our live training, talked about that if you have a niche of people, you can not only sell somebody their own solution in terms of a directory, but you can make your own directory. So one of the upsells you can give people is, look, $97 a month, I'll give you your own site with your own directory for your business or for your own whatever. But if you only want to be in our own professional directory, where I've created a market of lawyers or doctors or nutritionists, for $47 a month, I'll just make you an entry inside of there. So that's where this applies. So let's do some hands-on. Keep asking the questions because I love these. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump in now. Let's go to the basics of Fluent CRM and let's talk about how products relate to that. First of all, out of the box in Fluent CRM, which I love, love, love so much, there's just some basic settings that come ready to use that you just change for yourself when you're using LaunchKit. You put in your business name, your business address, upload your logo. Okay. Leave this alone. The admin email address is probably the best thing to use because that's what you're basically going to have already validated with SendGrid or your SMTP. That's it. Done. Save settings. Okay. Next, I've already created for you a main list. This question is asked all the time, but in terms of like what you need for running a business, you really should not have multiple lists unless you're running multiple businesses. Think of it like a banquet at a big hotel. In today's world, it is way more efficient because we have these tags to differentiate. Put everybody in one room and just segment them out based upon the tags they have. Don't put them in different rooms, which are metaphorically like lists, where I have no idea where to find Spencer or Bob or Susie because they're in another room. I can't see them. So here, I've already provided everybody with just one list called main list. Don't have to do anything else. The LaunchKit already has some example tags. Let me talk real quickly about taxonomy. Taxonomy is something that you want to use, that you stay consistent with, so that you can make all of your tags, I like to say, semantical, readable, memorable, identifiable. Here's the deal. Format-wise, you can do two separate words. You could do two separate words connected with camel case, like capitals. You could do connected with a hyphen, connected with an underscore. All of that is fine. If you want, if that floats your boat, do that. What I do is I use two words, hopefully, maybe three if I need it, and I use all underscore, which avoids all the future complications. And then what I do is I use this semantical trick. I say action subject, right? Viewed something, subscribed to something, registered for something, purchased something, has access is kind of three words, but has member access, right? Purchase product. You can see a pattern here. Why? Because when I look at these tags, I know exactly what it is, but it's just two words and that's it, maybe three. I've never gone to four. And by sticking with this, you're going to make your life oh so much easier in the future, because these are the things that are going to give control. Now, let me talk about another concept. Typically, I will give two types of tags for every interaction with somebody through my CRM. Sometimes one, but usually two if it involves money. Here's what it is. One is your receipt and one is your access control. Okay. You go to a hotel, you pay for the pool, the buffet, the sun deck, the valet parking, whatever. What do they give you? They give you a receipt that shows each of those things. But then what else do they give you? They give you a tag or tags, usually a magnetic card, that lets you into the pool or the buffet or for the valet parking or whatever. When you stop paying as a subscriber, or when your time is up for the product, they take away the access, but you still have the receipt. Let's apply this to membership. We already have WooCommerce built in. We already have Fluent Forms built in. We've got launch flows to control the journey of the user. We have tags to act as both the receipts and as the access control everywhere, and for triggering marketing automation. So we don't need a membership plugin. Never, 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 ever do we need that again. It's redundant. Number two, the same tags can be used across a variety of the different features because we're giving them from a central place with a central purpose, right? So I give you the receipt for each of the items you purchase that might be enrolled in my membership, or paid for a one-time call, or went to an event, or for free. I know you used the form that's on the front page to set something up. And then second of all, I give you the access tag or tags that will do the other things for controlling what you can see or do or whatever. But if you're paying me on a recurring subscription and you stop paying me, I take that away. Chris is asking, the one list and tag system is so much easier. I found having clients create a tag glossary extremely helpful. I agree. Okay. So the one list, bulletproof. I have 50,000 people I can validate this on. I mean, in the last couple of years, not 50,000, maybe 10 or 12, 15. But the point is, this is no brainer. Multiple lists is an old metaphor from the days of filing cabinets and when we didn't have REST APIs or the tag system. The tag glossary is really helpful. So if you just use any old spreadsheet, if you go to, sheets.google.com for free or whatever spread, let's see, I probably have some stuff in here you don't want to see, but like if I go and I create a new sheet, okay, that's all you need to see for just making a map, call it my tag map. And all you're doing is just putting in, again, the thing it does gives access to membership. It has member access. Okay. And just go down the list like I'm doing, literally, of each of the things, right? Became a lead from home page, and then here's action subject, right? So submitted front page form. That's where I might use a word to be descriptive, like an adjective. But you see, these become my tags. And what my tags do. And then you can do in here, you can do these little tricks like you can, lock the row and so forth, or just make it bold. And ta-da, that's as simple as it is. Great suggestion, Chris, on the spreadsheets. Thank you for reminding me about that. Okay, so now that we've got the Fluent CRM and the tag set up, I've already given you some demos. Now here's the real magic trick. Before we get too far into what we're going to do with Fluent CRM, I'm suggesting to you, whether it's for yourself in one site, yourself across a hub of sites, or for a client, that in this particular case, what you're going to want to do is use a product. This is a magic trick. Donna, I'm speaking to you. We had a conversation yesterday using actually, it was Donna had a question yesterday, and also Louise had a question. I'm not sure if Louise is here. If you're here, Louise, say hi. If you use a product as your one container, like I was talking about in live training yesterday, your life is going to be amazing. Why? Because think about it like this. We've already got WooCommerce that's managing all of these key features for free. Registration, login, custom product fields, custom registration capability, upsell, downsell. All these magical things are happening. We've already got a post type and a page called product. Why not make that the one place people look for the thing they need? Then after they buy, they come back to the thing, and all the information is contained therein, including, by the way, for Spencer's question, their membership stuff. Instead of using LearnDash or Lifter or something to have a course page where you try to sell stuff through the proprietary sales system of theirs, instead we have one product that can be used to sell anything. It could be enrolling in your directory for money. It could be seeing a course. It could be having a one-on-one call, because we can use the conditional display on the product to first advertise what it is you're buying, but then the very same URL, when you come back, is what you get your stuff on. By the way, hello, just like WP Launchify software bundle, right? Besides having it in your own site, when you're logged in and you've paid for it, guess what you get access to? Because then you can just bookmark the one location. Your life is easy. By the way, I use the very same thing here. So I use this universal tag, has member access, as my access control. Remember, I give a receipt. You paid for LaunchKit, but you get access control to the software bundle or to the automatic updates of the plugin, because you've got access. As soon as you stop paying, I love you, bye-bye, and you lose the tag, you lose the access. So here in the product, we can use this for selling anything, but worth pointing out for a question like Donna had. Let's say this is a membership product that's a one-time, okay? We could say membership one-time. Let's limit the time. Okay. We can use a simple product that gives a fixed time frame. But the thing is, it's not easy to do with a simple product. There's nothing that measures time on here. So what we're actually going to do is go to a simple subscription, and then we're going to say expires after. Now, I know this may be counterintuitive, but it's really simple once you get your head wrapped around it. So time frame, membership 1 month. We simply expire after 1 month. Subscription price like $97 a month. Now you have some choices here for virtual and downloadable. That is a WooCommerce option where if you are not literally shipping products, you should always check those. The options that they provide are not as important, although the download may not be used. But if you use that out of the box, then these products will auto-complete and it won't be put into processing mode, which is normally what will happen with, as you can imagine why, a shippable product, because it's like somebody's paid you, but you need to go in and like press the button to say, I put this in a box and send it to UPS. But if you do virtual and downloadable, even if you don't use both of those features, that by itself will automatically create a completed order. There's a plugin I've already given you that says auto-complete orders where you can do this for everything anyway, but I'm just giving you a heads up on that. For right now, let's just say you set your subscription price $97 a month, expire after 1 month, and I give you this custom price string. This is part of the Launch Kit solution. So you don't have to worry it's saying the shenanigans out of the box of WooCommerce like subscription $97 a month ends after 1 month. Instead, you could just say $97 for 1 month. Anything you type here is what's going to show up on the product. That's super awesome. Now, here's another trick. When you set up launch flows, you need to say, where does it go when somebody adds it to the cart? Out of the box, the demo products I've given you, choose checkout. I recommend you choose checkout as well, but understand something. You could also have the product be added to the cart and then send them to a second product or a third product or something else like filling out a form. So the idea is that you can use the launch flows options to daisy chain what happens after the person says yes to adding to the cart. Spence is asking, excuse me if this is the link you sent, but how could you allow the purchaser to build their own listing? Automate that. So what happens with that, and I'll come back to it in a second, is that we have the ability to do front-end forms for the person who is going to submit their own listing. And it's slightly detailed, but it's in the video that I did send to you. Instead of, let's say, a really complicated setup, we could just use Fluent Forms to allow the person as an author to get one post listing of the custom post type called directory or whatever you make. And because they can make one of them, that front end form lets them fill in the information from the front side, just like they were doing a blog post. But it's the fields about themselves, my first name, my last name, my image, my whatever. And when they submit that, you have two choices on how to publish it. Choice one is we can map those fields to a custom template, what's called an element in Kadence. Kind of like fill in the blanks, right? So everybody has the same post form, but the data from that gets put into the pretty location of your design. That is something that works really, really well, but I think there's an easier way. I think a concierge business is better because no matter how good people are, they're not in the business of editorial. So I've done this thousands of times over customer sites over the years. Never once has it worked out that the people submitting their own data get it right the first time. So instead, what I do is I just let them submit the data, and then myself or a $5 an hour team member just publishes it directly and acts as the intermediary editor. So for example, I showed this yesterday, like if you go to avo.com or if you go to yelp.com, guess what? They don't let the lawyers edit their own profiles. I can submit information about this character here. This is me, by the way, in my 30s, I think. I can submit information about me, but they don't let me edit this. They do it for me. Same thing, of course, with Yelp, if you go to yelp.com, because I think everybody should be in the concierge business today, not in the business of, assuming that people who don't do this for a living are going to put good data in. Now, why is this important? It's important because if they submit crappy data automatically, you end up with just a crappy directory. Whereas if they submit data through a form and you or somebody on your team goes, copy, paste, edit, change. Maybe it takes you an extra 2 minutes once in a while for each person, but your directory is perfecto. Aaron asked, and by the way, Spencer, I'm going to do a detailed tutorial on the video that I gave. How can I embed SoundCloud links into the page? Okay. I'll do this right now as part of this is a good question. This came up yesterday. I had Stefan Stefan, if you're here today, let me know. But otherwise, embeds are two types, JavaScript or iframe. You have to know which one you got. The one that's an iframe will say something like iframe, HTML, URL looks like. JavaScript will be something that says like script source equals. If you're doing an embed versus an iframe, you simply come in and typically type in /HTML, and that will work for either type. So if I did an iframe, iframe source equals, I'm just making this up here, but google.com, I know how to code because I'm from the old days. you would normally get this from wherever. And here, google.com, you'd say something, with equals 100%, etc. Okay, now if I did this may or may not work. This would typically allow something to show up that's an embedded iframe. If you did JavaScript, it'll take the code and embed it. Either way, though, Aaron, you're basically going to use the HTML. There it is here. By the way, you should understand too that iframes and JavaScript have to be approved to that membership location. The cross-site scripting things prevent people from just putting any old site into any old site anymore. But if you're using an authorized tool, that would work. Second way of doing it, and I'm going to get back to where I was, is you could use the embed. Now, depending on what you've got, if you type /embed, there's a default here that allows you to put the URL of a particular thing. Typically, that would be like a YouTube video, right? So if you were to put the YouTube video for this thing in here, I don't want to create a loop, but you would paste it in, and it knows certain embeds. Hopefully this won't cause a sound loop. It will go get the content, and typically it will automatically put it here. There it is. So you say really easy. So use the HTML or the embed. Spencer has a follow-up question. Right, and SoundCloud. I know I'm old. I'm not that old. I know what SoundCloud is. All right, and so Spencer, I just want to close the loop on that and get back to the setup of the product for membership. It is a fine line of automating everything and leaving it up to the customers, but that's the business that I think that we're in. We're in the business today. Your best value, again, with Anisha sites and everything else, is as a concierge doing this for people. I spoke to Anne. Is Anne here this morning? Good morning, Anne. She's one of my favorite students and clients because she's really active. She's doing a directory for nutritionists, and the conversation about whether to have this automated or not really boils down to garbage in, garbage out. And people are really sweet, but they just don't know how to do it right. They spell their own names wrong. They use a crappy picture. The image is the wrong size, the wrong scale. 800 million things that if you just allow them to submit it and you say, hey, we're just like 1977 again. We're working with pen and paper. They appreciate that it's hand curated, that you're like a concierge. I mean, it's really true. Exactly. Thank you. Hey, listen, my sons are 13, 20, and 23. So I get it. Sometimes I ask my 13-year-old, especially, like, what are you talking about? My 23-year-old, a little closer. Okay, so back to this. When we're creating a product that acts as a membership access and we want to control for a time certain, ironically, if it's not just you bought it and you got it, ironically, the best way to do that is to just go ahead and make a simple subscription, set the time in the general, and then in launch flows, I was saying you want to set where does it go after you add it to the cart. Typically, that's a checkout, but it could be to another product offer, or it could be to another form, like fill out your profile. You're buying this thing. Give me the information, what I want to have from you in the directory. Now, that could be done later too, because we're going to give somebody a tag, or in this case, I'll use the purple one, the tag that gives access. Now, the second thing you want to fill out is the post-checkout page. That's where do they go after they've paid? And typically that's going to be the thank you. And I've set this up as a default. By the way, worth mentioning, Launch Flows allows you to have unlimited custom checkout pages, unlimited custom thank yous. That means that if you wanted to, even though they dynamically know what somebody's done, you could have a completely separate, isolated flow for customers, for products, for services that like ding, 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 which goes to my point about how stupid it is to have a whole framework like, they're not stupid plugins, but like framework plugins like Cartflows and FunnelKit, where somebody has to use all these crazy tools. All you need to do is create one or more products and just daisy chain them together with a custom checkout or default checkout, with a custom thank you or default thank you. Done. And just put them in your spreadsheet. Done. I think Chris would probably back me up on this. Like, why do you need a whole framework of stuff when, like, hey, I still have a piece of paper and I can just write down, A to B to C to D, or I use a free tool online like Whimsical. Now, I use this instant clean sales page because that gets rid of junk on the default page of the product. But, we're probably going to customize this I'm not going to go the whole way, but if you did it as a sales page, you're going to put in the information that's useful as a sales page. And you'll probably do it by copying a pattern using the design library. If that's what you're using instead of the default template, choose Launchflow's blank template. That gives you all the product mechanics, but a blank slate onto which to design whatever you want. Just be sure if you do that, that you need a way to add the product to the cart. And to do that, you can either use the Launchflow's direct checkout link, which takes your programming and puts it into a link, which you can use on a button or anything, or you could, with the blank template, just use add to cart. I'll type Launchflow, do product, add to cart. And what this does is, even though Launchflow's hides everything, this brings the default add to cart back into the picture. This is useful with the subscription if you have variations, because the button is just a singular button, whereas this will have all the normal, drop-down options and stuff. Whichever way you do it is fine. It makes no difference. But that's what's the benefit of going to the blank template. I'll, for right now, just leave it as an original template, but clean sales page. Gets rid of the bookmarks, gets rid of the additional stuff you could buy. It's just the product, the basics of what you need. We want to add some kind of either local or remote product image. I use this feature here where I hide the zoom and the light box so it's not doing that weird stuff. And then I just add a product image. And again, here I give you the option of either adding it locally, or I would do it with the remote one. I love the remote one because let's say you're using, like I've said, bunny.net. I'm going to just, plumber's using his own toilet. And indeed, Aaron, the newfangled technologies, those kids today and their Twitters. Okay, so let's log in and let's grab an image from my bunny.net library, which, by the way, saves me infinite amounts of time and effort because all of my social media can be in one spot for anything I do. So here, let's go to WP Launchify Media. I spelled it incorrectly. And let's just roll our mouse over. Let's say this is the thing we're using for our featured image. Just copy the URL, bingity bang bitty boom, paste it into featured image by URL. Done. Now, why is this awesome? Because if I want to back up this site, I want to migrate this site, I want to sell this site, I want to clone this site, guess what I don't have to do? Have a trunk full of bricks of a media library, because all my media is in an optimized CDN delivery around the network in instant seconds over bunny.net. And all I'm doing is referencing that optimized data. So the site is amazingly small and simple, even though it's got all the things programmed in. This, my friends, is the future. Finally, I give the tags. So remember, we talked about two types of tags to give access to any kind of membership content. One's a receipt and one is the access. So let's do access first. Has member access, gives access, but this is a subscription. Pay attention, folks. Here it comes. The benefit is I can remove access. This little doodad right in the middle, I can remove the tag of has access, but I'm also going to put a receipt tag in. So I'm going to say, in this case, let's say purchased product. You'd make your own one with action and subject, right? So purchased membership one. If it was a subscription, I would use the term subscribed. So let's say subscribed course, but you would say subscribe to name of the product. Now, remember I just said we're going to remove the tag if you stop paying, which is going to get rid of your access, but we still want to have that receipt. So here's the secret. Where it says canceled, we give back the receipt. When it says expired, we give back the receipt. That's like when you go into Costco and you got that giant, with me, $400 receipt of everything I bought. This year it was bourbon. But in any event, it has 80 line items. They take a magic marker and they scratch off the thing they gave you credit for, and then they hand you back the receipt. It's exactly the same. What we're doing here is saying when you subscribe, when you purchase, you get these two tags. If you come back and stop paying, we're going to take away your access. Your Costco card is chopped up, but we're still going to give you the receipt for the stuff you bought. We're just going to get rid of we're going to magic marker off the has access stuff. And now you've just got a receipt. Why? So we can segment in the future on people that have previously been involved in this relationship of this course or product. Now, the has member access tag could be one for everything that I offer, or I could have different access tags for different products, different bundles, different whatever. Just understand that you've got to give it and take it away based upon whether somebody's paying. Ta-da. Now, with LearnDash specifically, we've got in the products this really nice integration, LearnDash courses, where I could just say, this is the course that you automatically enroll in as long as you're paying me. Done. If I want to do events, I click this button at the top and I open up all this stuff. Same thing. This product sells an event. Done. Now, back to my main point. I've got one product. There's an amazing option in Launch Flows that if you go in your admin dashboard, one of my new clients, Lars, asked me about this yesterday. Go into Launch Flows. He said the word, I can't remember the word. It was very flattering because he said, that's brilliant or amazing. I'm like, I know, because this is one the clients asked me for. Go into Launch Flows. My clients are brilliant. My clients are amazing. Launch Flows has an option down here called remove product slug from permalink of all products. When you enable it, it no longer says yourdomain.com/product/something. Instead, it just says the name of the thing. So let's go look at our new product and I will show you exactly what I mean. It's very small to see. I appreciate that, but I'm going to read for you, or maybe you can get your magnifying glass. When we look at this product, it now says blankety-blank.site/membership 1 month. That's it. Now, I have a container that is one URL that can be used for marketing, selling. When somebody is logged in, if they have not paid, I can still show them something different here. But when they pay or they're subscribing, they get the contents, they get the deliverable. Well, what do you mean, Spence? Well, on this page, I can embed the actual course. Watch, if I type right into here, let's say I go back to what I was telling you guys. Let's first of all, I need to put a container in here. Well, let's do one thing first. Let's go back over here to what I said with Launch Flows. Let's use the blank template. Okay, so that I'm not showing the normal product layout, but I'm showing, whatever I want. I'm going to put a container in here that could be the WP Fusion conditional container. And like I've said before, you say, what gives access to this stuff? The tag of has member access. The rest of the stuff will still be publicly available. But what I put in here, okay, this is only for members logged in who have the tag of has member access. Now, what can I put in there? LearnDash. LearnDash, I could put my profile, a course list, a lesson list. I can even put a specific course in there so that somebody could come to the product page and actually access the course. What I would probably do, though, is not that. I would probably just put a button in there that says how to get to the course. So, for example, if I go to my LearnDash courses, and by the way, this is true for my bookings and so forth, which I do want to get to in the last couple minutes here. I don't want to leave that off. If I go here to LearnDash, LearnDash courses. If I have a course that needs enrollment, like sample course 1, you see, I could take them to the course page, but you know what would be way better? If I just go to the lessons, or let's just view the course. If I just were to take them to lesson 1, it would allow me to basically say, go on over to here. So what I typically will do is I'll avoid the course page and I'll just take this. This is lesson 1. And I will go, even though I could put more stuff in, I put in something like, congratulations. Click this button to start lesson 1. And then I put in a button and I use the advanced buttons of Cadence, lesson 1. Now, I can conditionally show this, but it really doesn't matter because this is like for people just started. I click here, boom. And by the way, I can format this different ways. I can make it, left align, right align. It doesn't make a difference. This conditionally shows, and when somebody is done with buying the product, you know what I would do? Instead of taking them necessarily to the thank you page, I could take them right back here. Or another way of doing it is I could use the product short description and put in the URL of this page with a little note that says, thanks for buying. Click here to come back to lesson 1. The point is the product short description will show in the LaunchFlow's thank you page. The product page itself can have whatever conditional display of stuff, and all of it is protected by somebody being logged in with the tag. Now, remember I was saying at the beginning of today, like, what if you want to do bookings, or what if you want to do directory? Guess what you could put in here? Let's just change it. Let's go ahead and remove the buttons. And instead of this paragraph, guess what we're going to do? We're going to put in a form. Not that form, that's my desktop form. We're going to use a Fluent form. So we got to type Fluent. And we would choose the Fluent form for whatever thing we want for submit your data. Submit the information about what your directory is. Spencer has a great question. Would this be replacing a My Account type area? Not necessarily. What I'm saying is you should still put this information, truthfully, it's better in the My Account or the custom dashboard that I've shown you guys how to do. So for example, great point. It's way, way, way better to take somebody to a thank you page and then refer to it like I've shown you in a custom dashboard. Like here, see, I'm enrolled in this custom course. This gives you one place. But what I am trying to emphasize is that the ultimate delivery of stuff, after they've gone from buying to logging in and seeing their My Account or their My dashboard, you don't need a second, third, fourth place to hold the stuff. So think of it like this. There's outside world, there's logged in at this is the lobby right here of the health club, all my stuff. And the third thing is the actual stuff that you go to. So great point, Spencer. Don't replace the My Account, but just understand you don't need more than one place to deliver the content. And I'd say that should be the same place that you originally sold the content. Here's why. Let's get rid of this page. Besides this being really easy to configure for all kinds of situations, by the way, like I was saying, including like, let's put the form in place that lets somebody edit their profile after they've registered and logged in. Besides that, this allows us incredible ease of management to create any number of things as a template to clone again. So here's my template of membership 1. I set it up with everything I want. All I've got to do is just duplicate this thing. Boom, I got a second product. Boom, a third product. Each product is the sales page for marketing, the conditional display of stuff if somebody is logged in, conditional display of stuff if somebody's logged in and has the proper credentials. So it gives me a container that's just incredibly flexible and I can keep using over and over and over again. And there are other tools that I've given you, including one of them you don't really use right now, but you see how there's this extra stuff here, editing columns and so forth, right? There's a plugin that I've given you called Admin Columns Pro. You could actually add custom columns, this is beyond the scope of today, that give you, for example, the direct to checkout links for each product. So it's easier to use in social media. That give you the ability to like show the details of this product versus that product. So you could use it as like a quick and easy reference. I just don't have it configured for you, but the tool is in here so that this can be completely set up, like organize it by sales funnels, organize it by product type, organize it by category, whatever you want. Okay. So lastly, because I'm bouncing around, instead of, let's say, selling access to the custom directory form, what if instead we did what we were just talking about? Like, I'm selling you access to be able to book a call in my bookings. Guess what we can do here? We could do Fluent booking. And we can put in the booking form or the calendar that is only available. I don't have any set up yet, but it's only available if you've paid me. Ta-da! You can't get to the thing to book with me. And so that's a great situation where instead of paying a la carte every time you want to book, which is a feature I'm going to show you in the last 10 minutes here, you could do like I do if you wanted, like I put mine publicly because it's just a human being. But like you could say, if you're a member for this month, you can book unlimited times. Just go to my calendar. People only see the calendar if they've got logged in, have the right tag, and they still have it because their subscription hasn't run out. By the way, at wplaunchify.com, here's the other benefit of I use Calendly presently, but I'm going to convert over now to Fluent Bookings. Here's the other benefit. You'll notice that although this is set as call, you could choose 30 or 60 minutes. You can choose your CRM from a list, all this great stuff that for me, I noticed that doesn't show up when I do the drop down, but there's a drop down here. For me, this is awesome because if you come here and you're logged in, it will typically know who you're at anyway, but it's just a small thing to ask somebody for the name and email because that makes sure that they end up in your CRM first and foremost. Like back to my example where I said, like, what if you had an old school business and you had a fishbowl on the counter? By asking most people to just give me your first name, last name, for God's sake, and your email, then it sends them along, Tom Jones, tom@jones.com. Now, if they're already in my CRM, it'll just synchronize and I'll have noticed that Tom Jones came and did another, call. But either way, the point is it lets them see my Calendly, in this case, calendar, which I'm going to show you would be the same thing for Fluent Bookings. And I'll be using Fluent Bookings shortly. So here you can book a 30-minute call and yada, yada, yada. The rest, I've already explained in other episodes that this passes along, which is very useful, the information about Tom Jones, Tom Jones. So the person doesn't have to fill in. That's amazing for everybody because it saves a bunch of time and effort. How do we do that over here? I'm going to leave this page alone for a second. Let's go back to our dashboard and we go to Fluent Bookings. And I'm just going to do this really super fast. Concept of Fluent Bookings is it's a clone of Calendly. You have to have at least one calendar set up. And the reason is because this is a container that you can organize different events. Okay, so let's say I'm setting it up for me. I need a user account and I can decide, is this a calendar for one-to-one calls or is it maybe for a group of people, which really awesome, by the way. Maybe I'm doing a webinar, online, whatever. This is great because let's say, and maybe I'll do this, instead of me just sending you like every Friday an email, maybe I have random events scheduled throughout the month. I can set up all of my office hours. I'll probably use this for? I'll use this for live training. I could set it up as a Fluent Bookings group event, and then I just add the people to the list or the people buy. And as long as they have the proper tag, they will be given access. Ta-da. I'm just going to do the one-on-one right now. And I'm going to call this, 30-minute call with Spence. Meeting duration, 30 minutes. Call with me on Zoom. And the location, this is interesting. I'm not going to do this here, but you'll notice you can connect to Google Meets, MS Teams. You can do an online meeting, in which case you can either put the link in or you can just do direct Zoom, which integrates with Zoom to make a special link. So for me with Zoom, I've got a fixed link. I don't remember what it is, but zoom.com 1234. Okay. The point is the people will get access to that and immediately know where to come find you on Zoom. If I click continue, by the way, set your date and time zone. I'm in Chicago. Now you can set your default schedule. Now, this is really useful because I don't necessarily do calls from 9 in the morning to 5, but you could just quickly change it. And let's say I start my call from 10 and I end at, 3 o'clock. So that's 1500. Okay. And this is Chicago time. You set your default schedule. Next, you can set your options for other things like availability. Let's say, for example, I know I'm vacationing and I want to override some dates. No problems. I can just specifically put in an override, set custom hours. And I say, sorry, I am out of town from the 25th to the 29th. Okay. And you notice I got nothing here. What I want to make sure to do, I should have clicked it, unavailable. Unavailable. And by the way, I think I just added those two dates individually. I should probably just click them all. Same point. You set them unavailable. Now they won't be on the calendar. Really super easy. Save it. And by the way, I want you to keep track how fast I'm doing this. So imagine you're offering a service to your client And they know, oh my God, like I need that calendaring thing. I need that form thing. It's so hard. How am I going to do it? You just take a LaunchKit client site, you go beep, boop, 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 pop in essentially their logo, the name of the company, maybe their custom domain, charge them $300, charge them $600, charge them $997. Set this up for a one-time fee. Taking you what I'm doing in this in 8 to 10 minutes, and boom, they're good to go. Charge them a monthly management of a minimum of $97. But that's how you're building both a service, a recurring revenue, and an optional fee on something that is so mundane as just knowing which buttons to press here. There's nothing to this. But the bigger thing is, unlike Calendly, this is huge, huge. This is huge. Is that unlike Calendly, you don't have to have them go subscribe to another service to use this. This is just built into this box. Hello, that's the whole value of this WP LaunchKit / WP Marketing Hub. You can use it or sell it without all these external services. Now we've got limits like of buffer time and whether somebody can cancel. This is all fun. You can have custom questions on top of the first name, last name, email, or what's the message about. What I'll often do is I'll just change this into, what's your phone number in case I need it? And then, your phone. But the point is, whatever you need to ask, you can also add extra questions. Okay. And you can arrange the order. Email notification is to you or to them about, should you know about it? Should they know about it? How soon before? You can even send it to third parties if you're going to have a team meeting. This is the cool thing. Remember I said, if you had a one-to-many group, like maybe I'll use this for group training, it'll just automatically know who's on the list because it's configured in here and it also has the tags. You can connect to SMS services. This is that whole go high level conversation. Look, Twilio is built in. So if somebody wants to book a call and they submit this form, guess what happens? Text message. Oh, Spencer wants to have a call. Hello. Super simple. You don't need to be paying for a CRM for that. We've got a CRM for that. Chris always says good questions. The concierge service is the best position ever. You get calls from clients about strategy, how to get something done. Instead of being a button pusher, call us like a web. Could not agree more. Let me explain to my version of what Chris is saying. I used to be in the business where I would charge hourly to fix Frankenstein monsters, $300. And every single call would be like, I went to the supermarket, I bought everything I randomly picked off the shelf, I mixed it in a bowl, and it doesn't taste good. What's wrong? And I'd be like, I'm getting too old for this. I can't do this. And I had full-time team member Luke and other people who would take these calls. But we were attracting people who were essentially encouraged to keep going to the grocery store and randomly taking everything off the shelves and mixing it together. Versus, here's the new way, selling an outcome with a definitive stack of stuff that you already know in advance the answer to, just like I'm doing for you and you're doing for your clients. If your clients have this stack like a platform would, and they go, hey, Spence, I need to know how to set up the booking for a new thing. Guess what? The ingredients are always the same. The outcome is the same. I already know where this thing is, and I've done it 1,000 times. Eyes closed, done. Guess what they're happy to pay for? The same full value, $300, gets done in 40 minutes of us having a nice conversation, talking about the weather, their business, their whatever, and 5 minutes of me showing them what to do, and 5 minutes of them going, oh my God, you're the best. That's amazing. Like the locksmith who is called out to the desert that charges $2,000 because the person is so grateful that they're not stuck in the desert with the vultures. But if that same person was like in the city right in front of the locksmith shop, they might feel bad. When you control the stack using what I'm offering, when you offer the concierge service to keep them from building Frankensteins, and instead they ask you for pay to show me how to do the thing, and the thing you do just pops out of the freezer, your life is good. You can service, as I do, hundreds or even thousands of clients. Now, the other filter is your own booking. Here's the thing. I have concierge clients who I'm very happy to service for $2,500 a month, 2,500 2 weeks, 5,000 a month. But guess what? My calendar limits the actual availability people can book me. Nobody can take advantage of me because you know what the best thing in the world is? Somebody comes along using my Fluent Booking and they see what time is available for me. Guess what? Best thing in the world for me is if you've already paid for the time, fill my day up with money, please. I would love that. I mean, but as I've explained to you, while people are not doing that, the rest of the people are coming in as new prospects for a free call using the very same thing, right? So if you come to the front of the site or you've come from one of my strategic fishing pond relationships, book a free call with me because I will help you solve your problem. And you are going to buy what you guys bought, which is my standard baseline relationship, because that thing is what keeps you from building the Frankenstein. That means when you need help, I can actually help you instead of wishing I was in another business. Okay. I love these questions today. You guys are awesome. So going back here, we can finish this off. Payments. Now, here's an awesome thing to keep in mind. You can actually take Stripe payments directly from inside of Fluent. Should you? No. Here's why. You want to configure to take money through WooCommerce. And there's a WooCommerce integration here. Ta-da! Let's enable that. Shah Jahan and his team have thought of everything. And it's because he is open, their team is open to help from people, including myself, to say this is what it should do. So now if I go back here to my payments, go to calendar, host settings. Let's go back to where I was. Let's go back one more time. Host settings. Oh, I've lost my place. Here we go. Okay. So if I go back over here, I could do Stripe payments, but I suggest that you don't. I can do Zoom integration. I suggest you do. I was passing on that before, but obviously you could put your direct URL for your global Zoom. I would put Zoom in so that it not only connects to a specific Zoom schedule, but if you use something like I do, Fathom, it will also connect to Fathom. There's other global modules here, and I just wanted to show you guys this before I left, that you can control the theme, the email settings. This is all your global stuff. The light or dark color scheme, I kind of like the light scheme. It looks just like, okay, so if I go back to the calendar, and I go back to, let's finish my setup here. So I'm going to click on edit. Payment settings, now that I've turned on WooCommerce, I can choose to make this a paid event. Now, remember a moment ago I was saying you could also just embed the event in the page and nobody can see it unless they're a member. So one way of doing it is, now that I've created the event, I could just put the event of 30-minute call schedule with Spence. I can just embed it inside of here and it will conditionally display because somebody has bought something else from me. Like, let's say I bought the membership thing. Here, this now will show my calendar instead of showing the Fluent form or showing the LearnDash content. You can't book unless or until you've essentially gotten the tag. But once you've done it, you could go ahead and use my booking calendar. You're going to come back to the same place as when you paid. But there's also this option here. Use native payments by Fluent or use WooCommerce checkout. You could also just say that by buying that very same product, which I think we called Membership Month 1, you can also just sell access to the global calendar, which would be really super awesome. Let's make sure I've saved this Membership 1. And I'm going to refresh this page and we'll choose it. Sometimes what happens is when I'm doing this and I move around a lot, I just have to make sure I allow the page to refresh and it will be able to access the data. Oh, no, I take it back. I take it back. I know what's wrong. I asked Shah Jahan about this. The reason I cannot see this inside of, if I wanted to sell it directly, you cannot sell at the moment subscription products. You can only sell simple products. So if I wanted to sell it directly, which is fine, it's a one-time access, I would need to have the product be a simple product, not a subscription product. So now when I refresh the page, it'll work. I think they're going to update that very shortly. And it's a workaround. Like I've already showed you how you can do it with subscription anyway. But here now it'll show up. If I type membership 1, I'll be good to go. You're going to have to trust me on this one. I'm not sure why I'm having trouble finding it, but it does work. If not, I would just make a new product and I can demonstrate it. Trust me that this part works. Webhooks, this is great because let's say you send somebody off to do something and you need a confirmation that it happens. This allows that to interact as well. And then we have these other integrations that I was mentioning too. You can have somebody who enters in through buying access or scheduling a call be added to your CRM exactly the same way I showed you when somebody says book a call on WP Launchify. And I'm wrapping this up because we're at 1 hour and 15 minutes. But the point is, when somebody submits their first name, last name email to the events, that will add them to your CRM exactly the same way. All right. I'm going to wrap it up because I don't like to go over 1 hour. I'm at 1 hour and 15 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for the great attendance today, for the great questions. Thank everybody who've been supporting me. This is going to be an incredible new year. First of all, best wishes and safe holidays for all of you guys. I will have one last live event on the 29th because, hey, listen, I love to do this and I'm here. I'm going to have some amazing announcements and amazing partnerships, products. I am maybe going to be involved in some other publishing things, but the idea is you are early adopters. You are my fan club. You are my heart and soul of what I'm doing to make WordPress a service and integrate it with the other features and platforms that still are useful, whether it's something like Mautoric or even if it's an outside CRM. But at the end of the day, you are my army of supporters with brilliant ideas that help me validate what's working and what's not. And so far, I'm so happy because I've signed on more people initially than I thought, and yet it's extremely manageable and flexible, which means that I can show you what I'm doing and you can do it yourself with your niche idea. Plus, I just love meeting all of you and the energy. And when I'm having my bad days with my back or just whatever, that's what pumps me up. So thank you. I'm really grateful for everything you've done for me this year. I'm going to over deliver to the best of my ability going into the new year and next year. And I'm really super excited. I get tingles about how much is really finally happening. It only took 20 years for this to happen overnight, but it's happening. And I really believe you guys are going to be riding the wave with me. Talk to you soon. Have an amazing Christmas time holiday or otherwise, and I'll see you on the 29th. Till then, see you in the next video.